Шановні колеги, ми продовжуємо робочий день.
Continue our working day. The presidential administration spokesperson Colonel Andrei Lysenko will take the floor. Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. Following is the information on the events that are taking place in the ATO zone on the last day. In Lugansky direction, the enemy was opening fire at Stanitsa Lugansky, Zhovta, Zolotaya, and Popasna. The shellings were taking place in the dark time of the day and were not lengthy, with the exception of two. In Stanitsa Luganska, the occupants were using the mortar. In general, the situation compared to the last week was quieter. In total, in Lugansk direction, there were 12 enemy shellings, one of them mortars, during the last 24 hours. Donetsk direction, active practically all day round. Military actions in Avdiivka industrial zone continue. According to the information of the intelligence, the enemy was using all the equipment, tanks and Gaubitsas D-30. The number of the mines and shells launched at our positions accounts for hundreds. The occupants are actively using tanks, which we have not seen at the front line for a few months before. Despite very heavy shellings at our position, the occupants suffered big losses and partially withdrew from the previously occupied positions. To correct the fire and the intelligence the enemy was using near Avdiivka the drone. Traditionally, the occupants launched at the residential blocks. Yesterday in Avdiivka, one house was ruined and one was damaged. Also, because of enemy shellings, 3 buildings in pre-front villages, which are part of Toretsk Council, were ruined, were damaged. There were no victims in the result of that. Besides, during the artillery shelling, the gas pipeline in Novgorodsk was damaged, in the result of which the fire started, but the fire has been localized. Besides heavy battles in Avdiivka industrial zone, there were powerful artillery shellings at Svetlodarska Duga and in Arkhangelsk, which is 20 kilometers from the front line. Also, there were shellings at the positions of Shakhtabutiivka, Pisky, and all the shellings were from heavy weaponry. In total, during the last 24 hours at Donetsk direction, there were 37 shellings registered, including 30 from mortars and tanks. Mariupolsky direction, the day started from powerful shelling at Shirokivna and Talakivka. In general, during several hours, there were 69 shells launched at our positions. Later during the day, the occupants were shelling at Ukrainian positions along the whole front line. The most of them were in Marinka. By the evening, the enemy made 2 more powerful mortar shellings in Krasnogorivka and Taramchuk. Several dozens of mines were launched. In total, in Mariinsky direction, there were 27 enemy shellings during the last 24 hours. We got the information that the militants were starting firing from Grad P system and 82mm mortars at houses of peaceful residents in Krasnogorivka. The militants are using different tactics in order to intimidate local population and provoke the servicemen, using several types of weapons from different directions to strengthen the ruining force of the shellings.
Beside that, Ukrainian members of the Joint Center for Control and Coordination explained how the militants disguise their heavy weaponry close to the contact line. The industrial infrastructure in Donetsk, Gorlivka, Makiyivka allows to replenish the repair facilities, and due to these industrial areas, the militants can use some guns and mortars, even not disguising their positions. These tactics allows the occupants to create necessary picture for Russian propaganda if the ATO forces open fire in response. What is important, the militants systemically limit the access for international monitors from OSCE, which is fears a violation of Minsk agreements. During the last 24 hours, one Ukrainian serviceman was killed and 9 more were wounded. We express our condolences to the family of the perished serviceman. The confirmed losses of the enemies during last 24 hours were as follows. 5 militants were killed and 15 were wounded. They belong to the 9th and 11th so-called regiments of Russian occupational troops. And the 11th regiment suffered from the mortar of the neighboring regiment. The main intelligence department informs that on the occupied territory the rotation of Russian troops took place. They belong to the Tactic Battalion Group number 331 of Paratroop Regiment from the Air Forces, which is permanently deployed in Kostroma. The Russian paratroopers are located in Donetsk, and they are responsible and deployed along the Lugansk-Zaitsevo front line. In Bakhmut, the policeman had detained one militant. He joined the band formations in May 2014, and before this he spent 15 years in jail and was convicted 7 times. Yesterday, the Security Service of Ukraine held the training in anti-terrorist operations in Kyiv. Alpha and Cord participated in this, and Israeli experts provided assistance. That's all, and since there are no questions, we will finish this press conference. The next event will be at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Я не знаю,